Let the researcher do the research. Oh, my. I don't get a kick out of telling lies. Let the researcher do the research. Oh, no. Spent years studying the times. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Yeah. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Unite in truth and kill the lies. Let the researcher do the research. I'll learn to debunk my own craft. Respect is all that I have. Dr. Winters. I was sent here to finish my task, to become the greatest researcher, and that's who I am. Dr. Winters. Yeah. Na. Let the research. Gotta tell it lies. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Spent years studying the tides. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Black first, with strength we rise. Let the researcher do the research. Yeah. Unite in truth and kill the lies. Be one to win this fight.
We have to always
must unite.
Black
Stand up
first.
for the righteous and let your skin shine bright. Be one. Lessons whispered at night.
If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight. New content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we quitting. Yoshi and Dr. Winner keep on bringing the energy. Unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If they know got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Bring back learning, Afro-centric history, we see tomorrow. Karma's karma, I say what I say, I hear underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners. Clyde winners, Clyde winners. Clyde winners, Clyde winners, Clyde winners. Clyde winners, Clyde winners, Clyde winners. Clyde winners, Clyde winners, Clyde winners. Divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender. Clyde winters, I'm Richard, ride with ya. Master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters. Give respect to the elder, Clyde winters. Somebody out there looking for me. I told you somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me.
We have to live on the line. We have to live on the line. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drank. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I have not wronged population. I have not struck kill. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about on the song. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed against.
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today is Thursday. You know what time it is. It's time for Black History Gems. Yes, yes. It's time for Black History Gems. It's about talking to you and telling you about our history. But I want to tell you about our history from a perspective of the real history of foundational Black Americans. Let me explain to you. Europeans created a myth. They created a myth about foundational Black American history. And the reason that they created this myth is that they understood that because of the fact that foundational Black Americans are the Aboriginal people of the United States, because of the fact that we're not immigrants, because of the fact that we were here before there was even a United States, they've always, in a sense, tried to force us to reject our uniqueness. They want us to reject our uniqueness as, in a sense, an Aboriginal people, as the original founders of civilization in the North America. But this is a lie that is not going to stand. And because of the fact that we recognize, in a sense, that this is our country, we recognize that this is our land, and we recognize that we're the foundation. Yes, we're the foundation of America. How you doing, Karen? And because we're the foundation of America, we have to, in a sense, stand 10 toes down, fighting for our justice and rights. Yes, yes, yes. Many people, they get upset when they think about foundational Black Americans because they say we're always, in a sense, fighting. You know, some people will say we're begging, we're begging a European, in a sense, begging, the government to give us a handout. No, we're not begging the government to give us a handout. What we're saying is that we are demanding our reparations. And we're demanding reparations because we have, in a sense, the right to demand for reparations because this country owes us reparations. Yes, yes, yes. This country owes us reparations because we made this country. But although this country owes us reparations, many people get it twisted. Many people, in a sense, especially immigrant people and foreign people, they believe, in a sense, that foundational Black Americans, yes, us, that we were out trying to beg the government for something, for a handout. No, we're not begging for a handout. What it is that we're demanding payment. We're demanding payment for the work that our ancestors did without being paid anything. We want payment for several hundred years of being enslaved as chattel slaves. Yes, chattel slaves, common property. We built the railroads. We cleared the land. We built this country, and we're demanding that we receive our reparations. But many people, out there, they're saying, how you doing, Sandra? Many people out there, in a sense, are saying, why are you demanding reparations? They've given black people aid. They've given white people aid too. They've given black people food stamps. They've given white people food stamps too. And in fact, white people get more public aid. White people get more, in a sense, food stamps than we do. But we are demanding our reparations. And what I want to talk to you tonight about is I want to talk to you why we're demanding our reparations. I want to talk to you about the origins of the reparations movement. Yes. You can go to my Patreon and see the slides. Once I do this presentation, I'm going to put the slides in my Patreon. You can go to my Patreon and you can download these slides. Sometimes I'm on Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. And, you can also see me on many TikTok videos. Some of these TikTok videos have been posted by the genius, Yoshimad, the genius. And Yoshimad, he's the person who made that video that I played at the beginning of this program and also my introduction. And Yoshimad, the genius, is a hard worker for B1 because he understands it as Black first. So be supportive of Yoshimad the Genius. If you want to see more of Yoshimad the Genius's videos and you want to hear his music, you can go to Spotify. But if you want to really, in a sense, be more intimate with Yoshimad and his creations, go to yoshimad.gumroad.com. Again, that's yoshimad.gumroad.com. Go there and you can buy some of his videos. Okay, you're on my YouTube channel here. Thank you for coming. But I mean, don't just come here just to see my lives. I have over 400 videos on this site. And these videos, they discuss just about every aspect of Black history. So, don't be a stranger. Come back to the site and check it out. Support me on Twitter. And again, in a sense, please put a like and subscribe to the video. You can find out more about my research in my book, Black History Gem Essays, volumes 1 and 2. These books, in a sense, will give you a background into many aspects of my research and what I've been doing over the years. But this is not just; those are just not the only books that I've done in relationship to the history of Black people in the Americas. Some of my other books are "We Are Not Just Africans." In this book, I talk about the relations between, foundational Black Americans and the Aboriginal peoples here. Get my book, African Empires in Ancient America. In this book, I talk about the empires. Yes, the empires that Black people formed, the Black people created in the Americas. It was not just token Black people here and token Black people there. There was entire civilizations, entire empires that these Black people formed. Get my book. Get my book, Atlantis in Mexico, and my book, Atlantis in Mexico. What you're going to find is you're going to find out a lot about, in a sense, the Olmec people and how the Olmec people, invented the calendar, how the Olmec people, in a sense, had writing, all the intricacies, all the culture and the civilization of the Olmec people. Get my book, Atlantis in Mexico. And Afrocentrism, it tells you why we, in a sense, I'm an Afrocentric scholar. It also tells you how to look at our research. Ancient scripts in South America. This is a very important book because in this book, I discuss, in a sense, many of the ancient writing systems. Yes, many of the writing systems that people in South America had that are of origin of Black people. Get my book, the Olmec language and literature. In this book, I discuss how I decipher the Olmec language, and also, in a sense, decipher many Olmec inscriptions that can give you a key understanding of the Olmec people. And of course, my book, in a sense, where I talk about the world history of the Black race. Get this book. In this book, you're going to find out about every Black civilization. And my book, yes, my book that is really important and has a real relevance to what we're going to talk about today is the history of Blacks in America from prehistory to 1877. In this book, A History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, I discuss the tripartite, yes, the tripartite origin of foundational Black Americans. In other words, I discuss how Aboriginal Blacks and Black Irish were the first chattel slaves, and that these chattel slaves, Black Aboriginals, Black Irish, were later joined by sub-Saharan Africans, and they evolved into what we call today foundational Black Americans. Get this history of Blacks in America from Prehistory 1877, where I discuss this. I don't just end with the history up to 1877. Really, I go up into the 1960s. But get this book, A History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. This book should be in every home. It should be in every home of foundational Black Americans. So not only in a sense the adults, but the children can learn about their history and why we're a unique people. Yes, we are unique people. We have been fighting for reparations for years. We've been trying to break the chains of injustice to bring about justice in this land. We want to be paid. We want to be paid for the work that our ancestors did. We want to be recognized and respected as a people. We want to be respected and we want to get our just dues. And that's why we're demanding. We have to break the chain in a sense of white injustice, break the chains of trying to hold us down and keep us back. We have to get those reparations, because in getting those reparations, we can finally have the monies to be able to start those businesses and buy that land, or buy Nikes or whatever the hell we want to buy with our reparations. But in a sense, many people don't know why, and that's what I want to discuss with you today. I want to discuss with you today how and why we have, in a sense, a reparations movement, why we're demanding our reparations and justice from the Caucasians. Controversy surrounds the reparation movement. And this controversy, in a sense, is what really is making it very difficult for people to really see what it is that we want, because we are demanding it, you see. There's friction within the Afro-American community sometimes about reparations because people don't really know why we're demanding our reparations. One group believes that reparations should be distributed to all Blacks, no matter their nationality and origin, within the context of Pan-Africanism, while the other group believes that reparations should be lineage-based. Yes, lineage-based. There's been a long history of foundational Black Americans seeking reparations for enslavement. This began with the idea of 40 acres and a mule for each slave family emancipated during and after the American Civil War. There was a special field order, and this was special field order number 15. The first attempt to give freemen reparations was field order 15. General Sherman issued special field order number 15, and confiscated the lands and property of the Confederate people who had seceded from the Union, you see. And they in a sense, due to the victory of General Sherman, they confiscated all of the lands stretching from Charleston, South Carolina to St. Johns River in Florida. Under this order, field order number 15, freemen were provided with 40 acres to cultivate and a mule. Yes. This policy led to 400,000 acres of land being distributed to the freemen while President Lincoln was in office. As a result of President Abraham Lincoln's assassination, President Johnson, when he in a sense was made President of the United States, he revoked Special Order 15, and the land given to the freemen was returned to the white planters. This was terrible. Yes, it was terrible because, see, Black people, we were free, but when we were given our freedom, we weren't given anything. No land, no money, no resources. They just said you're free, and then we were supposed to go and try to make a living. But at the same time, they didn't want us to leave the plantations because it was kind of slick in a way. Yeah, they freed us, but they still hoped that we would stay on the land so that those white people who were in control of the land would continue having access to a large, free, quote unquote, free population of workers who they could use in a sense as they saw fit and not pay them 1 cent. And so Special Field Order number 15 was very important in terms of establishing the idea that Black people should be given 40 acres and a mule. The next to get Afro-Americans reparations is H.R. 40. H.R. 40 is a bill to simply study the issue of reparations. It has been before Congress for over 30 years and still it has not been passed. After revoking Special Order 15 and failure to pass H.R. 40, there was no attempt to give foundational Black Americans reparations. FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. No, 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 no. FBA is the lineage. H.R. 40, in a sense, was just to have a study done. The National Coalition of Blacks for Reparation America and COBRA, founded in September 26, 1987, include the National Conference of Black Lawyers, the New African Peoples Organization, and the Republic of New Africa. It was these people, in a sense, who began this movement towards reparations. So the movement towards reparations was picked up in the 20th century in 1987. You see, and this is very important to understand. Nearly Fuller has taught FBA that we are prisoners of war as a result of white supremacy. A prisoner of war, or POW, is a person who is held captive by a belligerent power during or immediately after an armed conflict. The earliest recorded uses of the phrase prisoner of war dates back to 1610. Yes, we're prisoners of war. Let me explain to you. You have to understand, in a sense, is that there was a unique origin of, in a sense, foundational Black Americans. Even though they want to tell you this myth that all the Black people in America, came, was transported to America in ships from Africa, that's false. The majority, yes, the vast majority of foundational Black Americans, our ancestors were fighting the English settlers. They were fighting, in a sense, the Caucasians. They were fighting for their land. And because, in a sense, they were fighting for their land, many of them, in a sense, especially in the early 1600s, they began to enslave. So once they, in a sense, would defeat an Aboriginal Black tribe, what they would do is that they would enslave them. They would make them their chattel slaves to work on their tobacco, sugar, and rice plantations. Yes, yes, yes. This was the policy. This was how Caucasians was going to get labor to work for nothing. And also, in a sense, to make sure that they could create, vast plantations where they can make money off their crops. Nearly Fuller, he created the code. He allowed us to understand, in a sense, that FBAs are prisoners of war. He said, in a sense, that we were victims of racism and we should practice in speech and actions 10 things. Stop snitching. Stop name calling. Stop cursing. Stop gossiping. Stop being discourteous. Stop stealing. Stop robbing. Stop fighting. Stop killing. Stop squabbling. This is what Nearly Fuller taught us. He said if we could follow this code, this would allow us, in a sense, to be able to overcome the injustice that we were suffering from Europeans, suffering from our interactions with Caucasians, and be able to be on a firm footing in which we, in a sense, would no longer be victims of racism, but people, in a sense, who are fighting for justice. Yes, yes, fighting for justice. FBA are prisoners of war because our ancestors were defeated after armed conflict with 1, English settlers in North America. 2, Oliver Cromwell's suppression and genocide of the Baradinaks. The Baradinaks is a name for the Black Irish and Scotsmen between 1649 and 1660, and 3, West Africans defeated by other Africans in war and sold to the Europeans during the Atlantic slave trade. All 3 of these populations were made chattel property as enslaved people. Our mixture on the plantation and segregation, led to some free Black communities. And this led to the rise of foundational Black Americans. Yes, it was, in a sense, these interactions that led to the origin of the foundational Black American lineage. Yes, a lineage. Thus, the FBA are born in captivity and oppressed by our captors. But FBA cannot prove white supremacy exists. Because as a prisoner of war, we are officially defined as a people by the white supremacists. Yes, yes, yes. They have always tried to define who we were. They've always, in a sense, tried to name us. Thusly, the mere declaration that the foundational Black American lineage exists is a revolutionary act. Yes, a revolutionary act. Because by calling ourselves foundational Black Americans, it is an identity not sanctioned by our captors. We created our own identity. Because FBAs are POWs, they suffer from cognitive dissonance because of white supremacy, you see. And it is the white supremacists who have the ability to define words. Cognitive dissonance exists because under the system of white supremacy, reality is defined as whatever white people say it is. Yes, yes, yes. It's very important to understand that much of what we have to deal with in our relationships with Caucasians is based upon the fact that white people said it, and if white people said it, then it must be so. See? But our relationship and our interactions with white people is based upon cognitive dissonance. The best evidence of white supremacy, according to Neely Fuller, is the failure of words to be properly defined. E.g., race is biological, not fiction. Yes, yes. They try to tell you in a sense that race is biological. But I mean, okay, look, we have the so-called Caucasian race. Look at this picture of Caucasians. This is how many Caucasians look. Next, we see pictures of the African. These can be, these Africans are people in a sense who are Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, you see. But as you can see, Caucasians and Africans is not just in a sense, you know, some made up issue. You can look right away and tell that Caucasians and Africans look different. And then when we go down to the Mongoloid people, you can see that Mongoloid people look different from Caucasians and Africans. Therefore, in a sense, race is not biological fiction. Race exists. Race is real. Race is real. To really understand, in a sense, Black history, you have to accept the fact that race exists, that there is a Black race. If you don't accept the fact that there's a Black race, how can there be Black history? You see. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it mixed up. Don't allow people to tell you, all people are from Africa because all people are of African origin. That's bullshit. Duh. Caucasians are Caucasians, and Mongoloid people are Mongoloid people, and African people are African people. FBA were freed by the Emancipation Proclamation and given 40 eggs and a mule through Special Order 15. The proclamation declared that, and I quote, all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforth shall be free. But this is very important because, see, this Emancipation Proclamation, listen to what it said. It said the proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states are and henceforth shall be free. You see? So as you can see, this only applied to the states that had seceded from the United States. This left slavery untouched in the local border areas like West Virginia, Kentucky. See? These states, there was still Maryland. These states, in a sense, the border states still held slaves. There were still people enslaved even after Abraham issued the Emancipation Proclamation. And so as a result, in a sense, is that we had to work harder. We had to work as a people to get our rights, to get our justice. We had to, in a sense, you know, make sure that we obtained from the Constitution the right to be free and the right for justice, which led to in a sense, those Civil War amendments. Special Order 15. This order explicitly called for the settlement of Black families on confiscated land. It encouraged freemen to join the Union Army to help sustain their newly won liberty. and designated a general officer to act as an inspector of settlements. The Inspector General, Rufus Saxton, would police the land and work to ensure legal title of the property for the black settlers. In a later order, Sherman also authorized the Army to loan mules to the newly settled farmers. Sadly, all of these orders were revoked by President Johnson, you see. Let's look at General Order 13. This was given in June 19th, 1865. The people are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, I, the President, all slaves are freed. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection therefore existing between them becomes employer and hired labor. The freemen are advised to remain at the present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect a military post and that they will not be supported in idleness, either there or elsewhere. So as you can see, under General Order number 3, they're saying the Emancipation Proclamation freed you, but as you can see, they didn't really want, foundational Black Americans who were quote unquote free to leave the land. They still wanted us to stay under the tutelage and under the suffrage, and as workers for the people who had been their former masters. You see, but in reality, once Black people became free after the Civil War, they expanded all over the United States. They did not just remain, in a sense, on their former plantations. They did not, in a sense, remain just to work for their former masters. Black people set out and began to settle throughout the various states where Black people had already been living for hundreds of years. Black people were never just centered in the South, but there was a large number of Black people in the South because of the fact that they had chattel slavery in the South. It was the 13th Amendment passed 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that outlawed slavery forever. Yes, remember, it was not, in a sense, the Emancipation Proclamation that outlawed slavery. It was the 13th Amendment. Truth in a system of white supremacy is therefore whatever the white man says truth is. This is why most Blacks rarely accept a Black person as an authority on anything, unless that Black person is first recognized as an authority by the white man. This is sad. It's sad that Black people, in a sense, as a general rule, they always wait until white people recognize someone. And then they feel if white people recognize someone, then it's someone who they should look up to. This is sad. What do they owe us? Yes, what do they owe us? FBA's demand reparations. And Kramer believed that the reparations for FBAs is around United States $18.6 trillion at 3% interest, or to the United States, 6.2 quadrillion. Yes. We are deserving of $6.2 quadrillion. Let that sink in. This is what we're owed. Kramer has done the research. He's done the numbers. Kramer et al. In 2020 added, and I quote, further research is required to estimate the cost of lost opportunities, LC, and pain and suffering, PS. See, so in addition to those billions and trillions of dollars that they owed us, we also deserve, monies for the lost opportunities to be free and have our own businesses, and for pain and suffering. Yes. Further research, Kramer says, is also required to estimate the cost of colonial slavery, as well as racial discrimination following the abolition of slavery in the United States to African American descendants of the enslaved. Whether the full cost of slavery and discrimination should be compensated or only a portion, and at what interest rate, remain to be determined by negotiations between the federal government and the descendant community. Yes. The federal government, since it supported the states who was holding the slaves, it's the federal government that has to pay us our reparations. Yes. Yes, maybe there was state, maybe there were companies like certain railroads, but many of these railroads and companies have gone out of business. Many of these areas, in a sense, many of these areas have been incorporated in the United States. And so that's why we seek monies. That's why we seek monies from the federal government, because it's the federal government that supported our enslavement. And that's why we're demanding that the federal government pay us the due wages that we deserved, you see, when we were held as chattel slaves. Pan-Africanism is the idea that African people should unite along the lines of their African ancestry. The Pan-Africanist movement was founded by W.E. Du Bois. Yes. It was Du Bois who organized worldwide Pan-African conferences. The representatives of the so-called Pan-African demand for reparation is in Cobra. In Cobra versus Foundation of Black American Views on Reparations. In Cobra, we had to look at this, that people have different views towards reparations. Reparations for slavery is the idea that some form of compensatory payment needs to be made to the descendants of Africans who had been enslaved as part of the Atlantic slave trade. You see? CARICOM, the Caribbean Reparations Commission, outlines a path to reconciliation, truth, and justice for victims of slavery and their descendants in the Caribbean. Foundation of Black Americans want reparations for American descendants of slaves in the United States of America. Some people advocating COBRA, they advocate a 10-point reparations plan. 1, a full formal apology. 2, repatriation. 3, Indigenous Peoples Development Program. 4, cultural institutions. 5, public health. They want the public health crisis solved. They want illiteracy eradicated. They want African knowledge programs. They want psychological rehabilitation. And they want technology transfer and debt cancellation for all descendants of slaves in the United States. Most FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, rejecting COBRA's method of reparations because it is against the law to give individuals rights and privileges based solely on race. See, this is why we, in a sense, reject COBRA's method of reparations, because it's against the law to give individuals rights and privileges based solely on their race. Federal laws prohibit discrimination based on a person's national origin, race, color, religion, disability, sex, and familial status. Laws prohibiting natural origin discrimination makes it illegal to discriminate because of a person's birthplace, ancestry, culture, or language. Thusly, giving someone reparations based solely on their race would be discrimination. Foundation of Black Americans want reparations for American descendants of slaves in the United States of America in the form of money. Yes, we want money. We want a check or cash because Foundation of Black Americans feel that due to white supremacy, the government, if they want to, in a sense, give us any type of other recompensation, they're going to sabotage it. You see, but the only way that we can ensure that we could really made to be whole is by being given, in a sense, monetary reparations. Moreover, if you have money, you can pay for your own education, you can buy your own land, and etc. And COBRA sees reparations as a remedy for every Black person in the United States based on being a member of the Black race. This is seen as a Pan-Africanist view of reparations. Foundation of Black Americans believe that reparations should be given to ADOS, American descendants of slaves, due to lineal descent from Aboriginal and African peoples enslaved in the United States as a result of national, state, and local governments that made laws to enslave us and made money on our labor. Many foundational Black Americans rejecting COBRA's view of reparations because presently in the United States, it is against the law to give individual rights and privileges based solely on race. Therefore, if we try to get, reparations based on race, we're going to lose right off the bat because the fact, in a sense, is that it's against the law in the United States to do that. The new Black media like Professor Black, the Black Authority, and especially Tariq Nasheed on Tariq Radio, these have been the main proponents, in a sense, of reparations. It's been these people, in a sense, that have invigorated and really stimulated the reparations movement among foundational Black Americans over the past 5 years. Yes, yes. It is these advocates of reparations that have really, in a sense, ignited the reparations movement. The FBA claimed for reparations based on the Constitution, which would supersede any law made today. During slavery, state laws made us slaves. These laws were supported by the 3/5 rule of the Constitution, which classified foundational Black Americans. The United States Constitution did not expressly use the word slave or slavery, but included several provisions about unfree persons. The 3/5 compromise. This, in a sense, is what makes it possible for us to sue the federal government for our reparations. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution allocated congressional representation based on, and I quote, the whole number of free persons and 3/5 of all other persons. Now think about this. You see, congressional representation was based on the whole number of free persons and 3/5 of all other persons. These all other persons were who? These were, in a sense, the people who were enslaved. So we were recognized under the constitutions as 3/5 of a person, whatever that would be. This clause was a compromise between Southerners who wished slaves to be counted as persons for congressional representation, and Northerners rejecting this out of concern of too much power for the South, because representation in new Congress would be based on population in contrast to the one vote, one state principle in the earlier Continental Congress. And see, that would have given the Southern states, if every person, in a sense, living in a state allowed that state to be represented, then that would have meant that even though in a sense those enslaved foundational Black Americans didn't have the right to vote, just by that simple presence in the state, that would have given those Southern states more power in the Congress than, in a sense, some of the other states that didn't have that extra population. Tariq Nasheed introduced the foundational Black American lineage concept. Yes, it was Tariq Nasheed. And Professor Black Truth introduced the term B1, or Black First. So we find that Tariq Nasheed and Professor Black Truth have been some of the key proponents of reparations. And they've played a great role in terms of developing the ideas behind it. African descendants of slaves, in a sense, African descendants of slaves have also been advocates for reparations. African descendants of slaves have two origins. The first are indigenous people because they were here before the European colonizers, you see, like the Olmecs, the mound builders, and other groups. The second are those who are descendants of the 388,000 enslaved Africans who came through the race war, which is called the transatlantic slave trade. These descendants included an admixture created through rape by the European conquerors, and intermixing and marriage with the indigenous Africans and Native Americans. They were also bred on plantations like animals. They are a unique people born of this land through heinous crimes against their humanity. Yes. You have to understand this, that African descendants, yes, we have, in a sense, two origins. We are the Aboriginal people, and also we were brought over here, in a sense. The Afro-descendant Institute of Human Rights has been advocates for reparations for foundational Black Americans. The Afro-Descendants Institute of Human Rights is a non-governmental human rights institute based in Atlanta, Georgia, led by law professor Dr. Mustafa Ansari. The mission of the institute is to provide human rights education while facilitating the human rights democratization process for the African descendant population of the United States. They are facilitators of democracy, and they want to see Black people get their rights by the 21st century. The mission of the Afro-Descendant Institute of Human Rights as a non-governmental organization offer various human rights certificate courses, events, projects, and webinars and books. The UN Human Rights Monitor and the UN Human Rights Defender curriculum identifies and addresses human right failures as violations of a multitude of human rights treaties. And thus, in a sense, they use this evidence of violation of human rights treaties to go into various courts to try to seek reparations for Black people. the Indigenous Afro-American Community Congress. This group serves as a vehicle for exposing descendants of Africans enslaved in America to potential academic, social, economic, political. Elena Porter, she's a very great advocate for United States Afro-descendants and reparations. Sister Elena Porter, she recognized, in a sense, our Aboriginal origins, but she also recognized, in a sense, that we should be given our rights and be given justice and be given our reparations. Yes, reparations. Think about it. If we, in a sense, was given the monies that we were owed, we could start businesses. We could buy new Nikes. Yes, if you want to, you can buy Nikes too. But just think about the idea that you would have the monies to be able to be self-sufficient. You wouldn't have to always be going from hand to mouth. You would be able, in a sense, to legitimately be able to demand your rights, demand justice for us, our people, and our descendants. The Petal Center organization. This is an organization that is led by Elena Porter. Its goal is for the United States Afro-descendants to assert their rights of self-determination and reparations as a tribal entity. Yes. The Petal Center for Human Rights, they recognize, in the sense that foundational Black Americans are the Aboriginal people of the United States, and we deserve, in a sense, yes, we deserve, reparations based upon the fact, in a sense, that they owe us this, and that this is our desire for this. There's some people who say, you just wait and you're not going to get it. But I really believe that Black people can get these, get reparations. And I'll go so far as to say, I believe that we may get reparations in my lifetime. And I'm 73 years old. But I still think if we keep fighting, we will get our reparations. Reparations for United States Afro-descendants are seeking reparations based on the fact that the United States took away, one, the tribal lands of Black Aboriginal inhabitants of North America. Thus, the United States Afro-descendants demand sovereignty and self-determination before the international court system. Yes, these fighters for our justice, they're going to take our case to the international court system to assert our rights as the original owners in colonized America. Because, see, it was these Europeans who colonized our lands. And we, in a sense, have the right to these lands, that they took our lands away from us without payment. As representatives of the 44 to 48 million freemen who have been denied their human rights based on our former enslavement as African and Aboriginal Black Americans on the plantations of the United States, they are demanding, in a sense, a federated tribal state for the 48 million United States Afro-descendants. They want urban centers like Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, with majority of United States Afro-descendants to have sovereignty and self-determination based on our right of return of stolen property by United States and various state governments. Yes. The United States, the Afro-descendants, they say, people like cities like Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, these cities are occupied by Black people. These should be cities recognized really as independent countries for Black people, and they should be, in a sense, given support, just like they give monies to the red man on these reservations. We should be given money living in cities like Chicago, Atlanta, and New York, based upon the fact that this is our land, and because this is our land, we deserve to be given our reparations. We deserve to be given our money as being Afro-descendants. Yes. Just think about it. This is what we demand. Often, here's one of the papers, that Afro-descendants use, and if you can notice, you see they're demanding under Article 51 of the UN Charter 4 of the Third Geneva Convention, for our, in a sense, what? For our reparations. They're demanding, and they're demanding, in a sense, that we be given our rights based upon our ethnicity and based upon the fact that this is our land that they took from us. You see, there's a lot of research that goes into Afro-descendants trying to base their claim. And see, the Afro-descendants, they base their claim for reparations on the historical, linguistic, and genetic evidence that many Aboriginal Americans were Blacks. These Aboriginal Blacks made treaties with the USA that have not been fully executed or had their land stolen without remuneration. This, along with Aboriginal blacks and Africans being enslaved in the killing fields across these United States without compensation, support our demand for reparations. Yes, we have a demand for reparations based upon the fact that they owe us. They owe us. Many of the Afro-descendant claims of reparations are based on my work. I've written a whole lot of peer-reviewed articles such as The Paleo-Americans Came from Africa, Protocol to Evaluate Population Genetics papers, African Origin of Native Americans and the R1M173 haplogroup, genetic chronology of African Y chromosomes among the Aboriginal people. Did African slaves bring the Y chromosome to R1 clade to the Americas? So as you can see, I've been doing a lot of research, and much of this research in a sense, is being used in the courts. Yes, they're being used in the courts today. You see, they're being used in the courts today by Afro-descendants who are claiming for their reparations, but they're not claiming for their reparations solely on an idea or solely on this thing of lookism. The Olmecs look black, have Negroid features. I'm a Negro, or I have African features in there. But no. They're using my articles. They're using my research, my basic peer-reviewed research to take into these courtrooms, you see. We start with this little brother who was 10 years old. Yes, that's a picture of me when I was 10 years old. We began in a sense, fighting for our justice. And you can see when I got in my 30s, seeing this brother with I had hair then, seeing this brother with a semi-afro and a beard. And now you see this old Negro. Yes, this old Negro down the bottom. But he says that real teachers teach because it's through our fight. And that's why I've been trying to do this research. I've been putting this research in peer-reviewed articles so that we can have a legitimate basis for our reparations claim based upon empirical evidence. And this is why my research papers provide the empirical evidence that is necessary to support our claims for reparations. The government, U.S. government and state constitutional laws sanction slavery. They both need to write a reparations check. Yes. Many of these states and the federal government owe us money. We are due reparations from the federal and select state governments which sanction chattel slavery and the inhuman mistreatment of the American descendants of slaves. The indigenous inhabitants of North America for the past 400 years. Yes. These are just some of the peoples. These are some of our ancestors. These are some of our the people who are we're descendants of, the Aboriginal people that form, various states in the Americas. We must learn from the past. Every law enacted for adults was amended to help everyone else succeed, but American descendants of slaves. It's time that they write a check. Write the check, baby. Reparation for American descendants of slaves must be a check and land that cannot be taxed, so the government cannot take back what they owe us. Yes, you got to fight. That's why we want a check. That's why we want money. If they give you anything else, then they'll probably try to be tricky and try to, in a sense, find a way to take it back. But when you got the money, you can buy your land. You can pay for your own education. You can have the money to do everything necessary to make you whole. Yes, everything necessary to make you whole. This is something that you have to remember. This is what having the money can do for us. Reparation cannot be paid by a law or program because the script is flipped, and everyone will benefit from an adults, So we want them to sign a check. We don't want no program that's everybody gets it. All these lift up everybody laws. Get the hell out of here. You owe us money. Write the check. FBA require reparations. It cannot be an educational program. Reparations cannot be social services. Reparations cannot just be land. Reparations must be in the form of cash, so foundational Black Americans can buy their own land and pay for their own education and etc. Yes, money can do that, you see. American descendants of slaves deserve monetary reparations. One, the government participated in holding American descendants of slaves in slavery. And two, there were rulings by the Supreme Court. Yes, there were rulings by the Supreme Court, and have already constituted the constitutional amendments that supported our enslavement. They owe us money. Cut the check. Cut the check. Cut the check. FBAs demand reparations because they owed us as much as $18.6 trillion. At 3% interest, it comes to $6.2 quadrillion. This is what Crimar has 2020 has been able, in a sense, to calculate. They owe us $18.6 trillion. Yes, yes. Cut the check, baby. In conclusion, whites brought their hate of black elites in Europe over to the United States. When these whites discovered the Americans were black Indians, they refused to respect black Indians. To form a buffer group between blacks and Indians, white gave favor to the Mongoloid Indians who were made honorary whites. Whites took black Indian land and labeled them colored people, just like the enslaved Africans. Due to life on the plantation and life in the colored community, black Indians and former slaves evolved into the foundational black Americans. Yes, they evolved into us, the foundational black Americans who went through an ethnogenesis. Maroons and black Indians had intimate relations. The black Indians often adopted Maroons in their communities, and Maroons built their communities in badlands and swamps where they protected their families from attack, and they remained free. The history of FBA proves that we deserve reparations. Yes, yes, yes. We deserve reparations because it's in our own self-interest to get reparations as B1, Black first. Yes, yes, yes. Don't forget, if you want to learn more about our history and, in a sense, learn about why we deserve reparations, get my books. You see, we are not just Africans. African empires in ancient America, Atlantis in Mexico, where I talk about the Olmecs, Afrocentrism, myth and reality, ancient scripts in South America, the Olmec language, the world history of the blacks, and especially my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. These books should be in your library. These books should be in your library so your children and your friends and relatives can be able, in a sense, to read these books and access these books and learn what our history is truly about. You know, understand that we're not just demanding nothing, that we do have a right. We have a legitimate right to being paid reparations because of the monies that they owe us. Stop believing and letting people tell you that we don't deserve reparations, you see. In conclusion, led by the new black media, we are bringing black pride back to FBAs as we fight for reparations. Yes, yes, we are fighting for reparations. We're fighting for reparations because we deserve our reparations because we made this land. We made, in a sense, this country. We are, in a sense, the foundation of this country, you see. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, there may be many cultures in America, but in a way, Karen, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this, Karen. You know, that you're right. That there are many cultures in America, but all of these cultures, in the sense that all these cultures around the world that are using the American culture are copying off us. Yes, yes. Because the American culture is black culture. And because American culture is black culture, you get all these cultures, in a sense, around the world that are being recognized. And they don't, and they're following what they think is American culture: clothes, dress, music, language. It's even language. The inventions we made, the digital phone, the telephone, the electric light bulb, made all this stuff work. The whole world civilization is dependent on us, It's dependent on us. And we have to, in a sense, do that. James Steffen says, Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Anderson, the book all about reparations. Yes, get his books, Get his books, It's important to get the books of Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson is a writer. And Dr. Claude Anderson has been out there fighting for us. But again, in a sense, is that this presentation today, I hope you'll look at it. But don't just look at this presentation once, you see. Look at this presentation several times so you can you'll know about special orders, the special orders. You'll know about the 13th Amendment. You'll know about, in a sense, the orders, in a sense, Emancipation Proclamation. You'll understand, in a sense, why Amendment 13 was important. Understand these things. Look at this video. Have your friends look at this video so that you can be, in a sense, knowledgeable about why we have a foundational Black American movement for reparations. This video will help you to know, in a sense, the reasons why, we have a reparations movement, and this can be used, in a sense, to help other people become much more knowledgeable about why we do the things we do. You see, again, in a sense, I want to thank you for joining me this evening, and I want you to, in a sense, understand that is through working hard that we can be able, in a sense, to get those things that we need that are important for us. Support Yoshimad the genius. This brother has done a lot, and he's given a lot of videos. In fact, he's made a lot of videos that I post. Support Yoshimad, the genius, please.
Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Time travel in a book. Go far in a book. When is the last time you spent bread on a book? Knowledge given in a book. Benefit from a book. Create a movie from a book. Create animation from a book. Atlantis in Mexico. Atlantis in Mexico. Mexico. Time travel in a book. Go far in a book. Can you remember from a book? Knowledge given in a book. Benefit from a book. Create a movie from a book. Just don't forget to give thanks to the author of the book. Thanks. Watching Black Neanderthals and the white race. Watching Black Neanderthals and the white.
Parents looking for a story that will not only captivate your little one's imagination, imagination, but will also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you. Hotel.
Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, coming like whoa. Spring water, how did that go? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy, coming like whoa. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Energy, coming like whoa. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, she told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2 time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I know that's smart. Hey, energy, coming like whoa. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, coming like whoa. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know.
Hey, I've just written a new book, History and Culture of the Black Aboriginals of America. Yes, I've written a new book. This book is called History and Culture of Afro-Americans. It's about the Aboriginal Americans. It's about the first people who inhabited America. Many people don't know about our great culture, this super culture that we created, but I discussed this book. In 489 pages, you'll find out so much information, great information, about, in a sense, what the Aboriginal foundational Black Americans did. You're going to see, in a sense, that Black people contributed much here. When the first Europeans got here, that's what they found. Yes, they found Black Aboriginals inhabiting the Americas. It was the Black Aboriginals that built this country. This is why you had to get my book, History and Culture of the Aboriginal Blacks of the Americas. In this book, you will find out the truth. You will know what we created. You will know who we are. Get this book. Buy it now. Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool. In my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just-Us. That's JUSTICE, 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Let the researcher do the research. Yes, let the researcher do the research. Dr. Clyde Winters, let him do the research. We need more researchers like Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, we don't understand that it takes people who want to do research to be able, in a sense, to tell us our history. Yes, many people have taken my course, the Afrocentric Researcher. You can take it too. All you got to do is join. But if you don't, in a sense, join, understand that it's through your hard work, through your persistence, that you can become a researcher. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the researcher. You know what? I've written some books that can help you to be a researcher. Those books are Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentric Studies. Yes, yes, this book is an important book. It'll help you learn all about your history. My other book is Afrocentric Researcher by Dr. Clyde Winters. This book, in a sense, is the most important book that you will find. What makes this book important is that the Afrocentric Researcher provides you with a course, yes, provides you with a course outline that tells you all the things you do to be a great researcher. Yes, get these books, the Afrocentric Researcher, and in a sense, get my book, Pathfinder. These books are the books you need to be successful, the books that will make you a great researcher. Get these books, but let the researcher do the research, but you can be the researcher too. The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.